Namaste and welcome to Soul Horoscopes Megascope Monthly Report. My name is Christopher Witecki. I am the Sensei to Serious Joy and a seasoned astrologer, here to help you stand in your heart and walk in the light. Thank you so much for making this purchase. I greatly appreciate our co-creation relationship. I'm personally excited to record this Megascope because I am a Taurus and I actually wait until I record it to really dive into what we're going to go through. So it's going to be fun for both of us. This is Taurus and Taurus risings, if you don't know, and the difference is your sun sign is where your immediate action is happening in life. Your rising sign is how your life is affected. So your rising is your life story. Your sun sign is your immediate moment-to-moment story. And in this, I'll be talking about both for Taurus and Taurus risings and what you can expect for what I call soul developments. So looking at the soul developments, these are the long-running planets, and before we dive into a week-by-week synopsis of how December 2014 is going to go, I want to give you a little bit of an outlook on some of the issues Taurus and Taurus risings are dealing with, and the overall outline, so of the timeline, excuse me. Currently, Jupiter is in Leo and will go retrograde on December 11th. This has been the expansion of your emotional foundation. This has been really necessary, basically it's a rebuilding of the home and a rebuilding of the way you emotionally respond to yourself. Now, Taurus and Taurus risings need to be royalty at home. They need to be Leo. They need to be self-loving. You need to have an enormous amount of self-love to manifest what you want. So that emotional foundation building will go on hold December 9th or 11th. I can't quite remember exactly the date now in my head, but we'll have it here in the weeks to weeks. And when it does, you will have a 6-month break, but you will graduate your new emotional foundation in August of 2015, where then it will be about pursuing personal dreams. Very exciting. It's all adding up, isn't it? Now, Saturn, which has been in Scorpio for the last 2 years, moves into Sagittarius on Christmas Eve. This is going to be, Saturn is our serious side, the part of us that makes new decisions, the part of us that takes control. So for Taurus and Taurus risings, this is about trust and intimacy. And in the first chapter, we're going to work on self-trust and self-intimacy, getting to know thyself in a better way. This transit of trust and intimacy and transformation will occur until December 2017, so be Taurus patient with yourself. Now, Uranus in Aries has been faith-building since 2009, really, and now it is going to continue. You'll be building spiritual faith until May 2019, at which point Uranus goes into Taurus and you will be reinventing yourself in the outside world. But keep in mind that it's like the feeling that it's always getting harder is the inner faith building. Okay, so it's like, why is it always harder every year? Because we're building inner faith. The good news is, once Uranus goes into Taurus, the faith part will coast, but we'll be working on other things at that point. Now, Pluto in Capricorn has been working on Taurus and Taurus risings belief and life purpose since around 2010, and you will continue to transform what you believe in and what you consider your life purpose until February 2024. A very slow-moving planet, but still worth mentioning. And then lastly, Neptune, which is changing your social status to be more closer to God's service providing and helping you find where your heart truly belongs. You'll be making this overall transformation into the world and into the public until April 2025. That's because Neptune retrogrades so many times. So with the soul biography, that is those who have Taurus risings, that's what I call the biography, your story that's changing, you're going to find, I think, in the next 30 days that your story changes incredibly. On the one hand, you will probably have some sort of issue or an event that happens in your life that will either usurp your trust in yourself. You'll realize, wow, I can't trust myself, I need to look deeper. Or you will affirm your trust in yourself. Now, you're leading to affirming trusting yourself regardless, and so are Taurus sun signs. But Taurus risings will likely get a glimpse in the next 30 days of the changes that they're going to make, the profound changes they intend to make. Taurus risings also are probably building a new home family foundation. You might be relocating in this Jupiter-Leo transit. You You might be getting new family members. You might be losing family members. But lifelong changes of family definitely happening for Taurus risings. And then the last thing I want to point out is that Taurus risings likely will be turning after this month in December towards a new life purpose. Taurus sun signs may take 1 or 2 years to figure out that life purpose, but Taurus risings will likely be clear on their life purpose, and that's because you have a different sun sign that is helping you stay grounded as you go through the Taurus influence. So that's really kind of the difference is when you have the rising sign, you get most of the benefits and not as much of the problem. But you probably had to be that sign in a past life, in my opinion, in order to get the rising. So now let's look at the mega moments. These are the moments or the dates you want to write down to help you plan your month and maximize your potential to manifest. The first one is career opportunities. And for Taurus and Taurus risings, really the 4th week of December, which is Christmas week, is the best career time. Believe it or not, your career is rocking December 24th to the 26th. So I'm going to have to think to myself, maybe I should put out a special video then or something. Maybe I will. You heard it right here, folks. But plan it for yourself. Even though it is a holiday, it is a good timing for you to release things or to be done with things, or a good line marker. Now the romantic or randy dates, actually the 3rd week, that infamous week that we take people on dates, right, for Christmas parties and stuff. That's when you're going to be feeling most romantic and most randy. So you make a great date to someone else's Christmas party. That will be Thursday, December 18th through Monday, December 22nd. Make a note of it and have a romantic time. Now your timeout dates, these are dates where really I give them to you so you don't feel guilty. You're not going to feel like doing anything on these dates. This is where you are recharging and building faith. For you this month, Friday, December 12th through the 15th of Monday, that whole weekend, a timeout weekend in week 2. And then finally the winner's circle, when you are feeling like 100 million, trillion bucks, whatever number you want to put to it, guess what? Taurus and Taurus risings get winner's circle this year on New Year's Eve. You will be in your prime on New Year's Eve. And if you want to know a good date for New Year's Eve, so far it looks like the Libras will be in their prime too. So you might want to ask a Libra out if you don't have a date already. But Wednesday, December 31st through Friday, January 2nd, your best days of the month. You're going to feel fantastic. So make a note of it and plan to feel good, bringing in the new year. And now we go on to our mega date line. These are the most important dates, in my opinion, that will help you through the month of December. And I've reorganized them now. The mega date line is now week by week. So I kind of give you a whole week. And within the week, I give you the 3 most important days of the week. So let's start with our first week, week 1. In the first week of December, Taurus and Taurus risings will be ultimately identifying your trust issues. You got to identify where you lack trust. You want to identify where you've grown in trust. You're looking at really where you're honest with yourself. And where we lack trust is usually where we have failed to protect ourselves, FYI. So the week starts on Sunday. On Sunday, it is some sort of goodbye to the old me-ligion, the old way of thinking, the old way of believing about trusting yourself and believing about intimacy. Old fears and or your instability as a result are over. And this is, we're going back to since 1985. This has to do with being able to trust yourself in a relationship way on the one hand, because Saturn's in Scorpio, but in another hand too, this is about the beginning of the Sun in Sagittarius, where you're starting to clear out now and you've decided that you can be there for yourself and there's hopefully nothing to fear. So Sunday, November 30th, the first day is I'm feeling good. I'm committed to leaving behind the past, and that's part of it too. Part of the boundary, trust, and intimacy is to decide what stays in, what goes. All right. So this is part of why or why not you trust yourself, is because you have boundary allowed things to stay in or not. So on Sunday, you're probably deciding about some things that must go, but at the same time, there's a trust that is born as a result. Now, through the whole week, you're basically identifying trust issues, seeing where you can trust yourself or not. By Friday, your new faith in yourself may already be challenged. So you start to have this trust, and the universe brings maybe another layer, maybe another chapter. Maybe you found out that you couldn't trust someone else, which means that when someone has betrayed you or lied to you, it's because you have ignored your own voice inside of you, because the universe does tell us. So something may happen, but you want to, on Friday, act on solid relationships. Saturn says, Go forward with relationships, business partnerships, alignments, things that you have worked on this whole time. Definitely move. And Mars in Aquarius is saying it is career forward now. So really you're building up momentum all week, all month with your career, because Mars is in Aquarius. And of course, once the sun goes into Aquarius in our megascopes for January, you'll actually see all this career work that you're putting hard time into now. So be conscious of the career steps you're taking. There is likely a breakdown, minor breakdown, but a breakthrough after this Friday. On Saturday, this is really the breakthrough. We have a full moon release that happens. All right. This full moon release is going to be a tug of war, literally between your sense of self-trust and your sense of values. You're going to find that because of what you've protected and what you haven't protected, some things have ended up being valuable, some things have ended up being disregarded in your life. All right. So this full moon is to really get you, on the one hand, very full. The full moon in Gemini is going to make you very confident about manifestation, confident about making money, or a desire to be over money issues, like a real full moon desire to be over it, which would require, on the other side, the sun, that you change personal boundaries, perhaps spend less or perhaps make more. It's more complicated than that. It's really the small moments, but the full moon is putting them to the two issues on each side. How you feel about your values and what your heart, where it draws its line, and finding the balance. Now, it's a step 14 full moon, so what that means is that in the end, we're going to reframe the way we think about things. So you will reframe the way you think about where lines ought to be drawn. Or you may come from a new approach. You may have always been drawing boundaries, let's say, from the victim's perspective. Like, I'm going to draw boundaries because I've been hurt. But if you come at it after the full moon, you may completely put down the victim role, for instance, and come at it boundaries from the perspective of best practice, not this fear or filling a void or whatever. So that's just one tiny example where you can quantum change the way you approach your approach to boundaries. And that's in essence what's going to happen with step 14. The full moon is going to inevitably change your approach. One last thing I'll put out is it is possible that this is all going down when it comes to sex and connecting to others. Sex, trust, and intimacy. Sex is really the fundament of Scorpio energy, boundary energy. And so you could say that Taurus and Taurus risings are also changing their approach to sex. You're changing your approach to everything. And what this will lead to with the Sun and Saturn and Scorpio, Saturn and Sagittarius, is a complete transformation of yourself in some way or another. That's what's going to happen in the next 2 years, which I was pointing out with that timeline. Catch the rest of your Megascope Monthly at soulmart.me. Rent or download immediately for just $9.99. Happy New Year!